It's happened to me twice. The first one was when I was 15 years old, and me and my brother had worked at this restaurant. It was a family-owned business, and it was during the summertime, so there was no school. Well, me and my brother were home alone on this one day, and he came into my bedroom when I was trying to take a nap. I was laying on my stomach, and he'd say, "Do you want to go to the restaurant with me?" Like we would normally do. We would go visit our coworkers and our family and stuff. Well, I had yelled at him, like I had screamed at him for no reason, saying, "Can't you see I'm trying to sleep? No, I don't want to go with you. Get out of my room." And he didn't say anything to me. He just looked kind of sad, and he left the house. And when he left the house, I was feeling kind of bad, like I shouldn't have yelled at him. That was kind of mean of me. He wasn't, he was just asking me if I wanted to go to the restaurant with him. So he left the house, and I was there by myself, and like I said, I was laying on my stomach on my bed, and I drew a little picture to help out. My room was like a perfect square. Like, this is the entrance, this was my bed, and this is the closet. Okay, well, I don't know if this happens to anybody else, but to me, sometimes I'll hear like a ringing in my ear. Well, imagine like a ringing in your ear, but it was 10 times louder, and it started at the corner in the ceiling. And as soon as I heard that ringing on the ceiling, I just heard this voice in my head, and it was not my voice. It was just saying, "This is bad, this is bad, this is bad," and it was also saying my name. And this ringing that was starting in this corner, it came down to the floor, and then when it came down to the floor, I felt its presence. Like, it was so powerful that I could just feel it on me, and it felt so evil, and I was so terrified, and I couldn't move in my bed. And this thing just came down and walked slowly around my bed, and it stopped right here, and it just, it just like grabbed me. It would like grab me like really hard, and it was touching the back of my calf. And when it was doing that, I felt this evil pulsing and pulsing and pulsing, and it just felt so intense and so evil, and so it didn't necessarily hurt, but like you could, what kind of did hurt was that it was like squeezing my leg, and I was so scared, and I didn't really know what to do. So I tried to pray to God, and I just said, "Please make it stop, please make it stop, please make it stop." And when I was praying that, I heard my neighbor's children outside, and they're playing, and I tried to scream out to them because I didn't know what was going on, and all that would come out of my mouth was just like, "Help, help." So I was like, okay, that's not working. And I was still continuing to like pray to God in my head, and all of a sudden it just stopped. And as soon as it stopped, I grabbed my shoes that were on the floor next to me. I grabbed my cell phone, snatched it off the charger, and I ran out my house. And I called my brother to come pick me up, and he did. And I told him what happened, and I guess he believed me because he just said that house is weird. And that was my first experience. And back then, when I was 15 years old, like, I called myself a Christian, but I can't really say that I was, because all I knew was John 3:16, God so loved the world that he gave his only son, and whoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. See, what they taught us in church was that, you just pray this simple prayer, the sinner's prayer, and Jesus will come into your life, and you'll enter heaven, and Jesus will forgive you of all your sins. So that's all that I knew, and I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what demons really were. I didn't know how to fight them. I didn't know what spiritual warfare was. I didn't really even know how to pray right. And I don't know if that was necessarily my fault, but that's how it was back then. And then looking back at it now, like now that I'm more spiritually grown as a Christ follower, I knew that thing that was in my room was a demon. And honestly, I probably attracted that to myself for being so hateful towards my brother. That thing just probably thought it just wanted to come, teach me a lesson because I was acting so hateful. I probably caught its attention, and of course I was there alone, and I was spiritually weak, and I was just vulnerable to it. So it just probably wanted to come in and torment me. And it was crazy, like when I said I heard the voice of Jesus. But even hearing the voice of Jesus and knowing in my heart that it was Jesus, I still did not think to pray to Jesus or pray in his, try to say his name to rebuke these things. And I just think that's pretty cool that Jesus tried to come and warn me. Okay, so that was the first experience. The second one was more of a crazy story. I was about 19 years old and I had just started working at this new job, and me and this one coworker, me and him were partners. He was like a hardcore like God hater. He would always like make fun of me for being a Christian, like, oh, you believe in a bunch of fairy tales, the Bible is just written by a bunch of drunk people, F Jesus, F God, F church. And he would always say stuff like that and to make fun of me, but I never like got mad at him for it or anything. I just tried to tell him about Jesus more. So there was this one day where I come in and I'm just like, well, if I can't prove to you that God is real, I was like, I'm going to prove to you that the devil is real. Because to me, I think that's easy to prove. I start telling him about, the music industry and how it's all satanic. And I start telling him about the Illuminati. And if anybody knows about that kind of stuff, like, come on, it's really obvious. Like, all you have to do is just look up the proof for yourself. And it's undeniable proof. I start telling him about witchcraft and how a lot of people practice witchcraft and the things that these, witchcraft people do. And there was one day, it was a Friday, I remember. He comes in, he was like, you know what? He was like, I think there's something to what you're saying. And he starts telling me about his own experiences and how they tie in with what I was telling him. So, that made me pretty happy. And I go home that day, and we didn't work on on Saturdays and Sundays. I go home that night, and I fall asleep, and I had a dream. And in this dream, I was sitting straight up on my bed, and that ringing that I heard the first time, and that presence was in my room in the dream, and I was like, oh no, I know what this is. And all of a sudden, this thing just like grabs me by my chest and my shoulders, and it pushes me back down on my bed, and I start fighting it, and I like force myself back up, and again it pushes me back down, and this whole time I'm feeling like this evil pulsing like all across my chest and my shoulders where it was touching me. And that happened like 4 different times, and each time it was kind of like an arm wrestling match. Like I would just fight it and force myself up, and it would just push me back down. And the whole time it would push me down, it would turn my face to the right where I couldn't see, what was on top of me. On the 4th time, when I pulled myself back up, I grabbed my cell phone, and in my dream I texted my mom, and I told her something has me, and she comes running in my room, and when I was like up straight up, this thing again forces me back down, and she's in my room, and she's like, get off of her. And as soon as she said that, I woke up, and it was like 2:30 in the morning. My heart was pounding, and I was sweating, and I just felt this presence in my room, and then it was gone. And then on Monday, when we went back to work, that happened for the next 2 days. Not the sleep paralysis dream, but I was just getting tormented where I felt things in my room, and I heard presences, I heard noises in my room, and I just felt like I could not sleep at all because these things were just coming and tormenting me in any way that they could. And there was even this one time where there was like a little black mass that like I heard like rustling in my room, so I opened my eyes, and this little black mass had came and it darted towards my face, and as soon as it got to my face, it like darted in between my bed and my headboard. And I grabbed my cell phone and I turned on the power, and I tried to like shine the light underneath my bed, and of course nothing was there. And on Monday, I go back to work, and I told my coworker, I'm just like, you know what? I was like, ever since you said that you thought there was something to what I was saying, I went home and I told him about my dream, and I said, I feel like, something's trying to punish me because it doesn't want me to tell you what I'm trying to tell you. And he told me, well, I don't want you to stop. He was like, don't let anything scare you. He was like, you say what you want to say. And like, it really surprised me that he said that, because, you know, he was always against me on that kind of stuff, but now he was with me. And that just made me feel really good. But even then, like, for the next 3 months, these things were just coming in my room at night and tormenting me. Like, every single night, I was just so afraid. And there was this one other time where I was asleep in my bed, and it felt like maybe like a 3-year-old child had jumped on me, like with 2 legs, like straight on my side, and I instantly just woke up, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is that? And every night I would pray to God to help me. And looking back on it now, like, that is, I mean, what was going on was the devil does not want that guy's soul to be saved. He does not want me telling him anything that leads up to that guy's soul to be saved. Because it doesn't matter to the devil if it's just one soul. He wants everybody. He wants everybody to go to hell. He hates us. And one soul means a lot to him. So he was trying to come on me and like shut me up and scare me so I would stop telling this guy about Jesus. And of course I didn't. So that's my story. I already know about all the, sleep paralysis, scientific definition. Like, I've heard some people tell me, oh, you're just hallucinating, your body just didn't fall asleep right. And I mean, all I can really tell you is I experienced it for myself. I was there. I knew what happened. I mean, you can have your own opinion, but to me, the whole sleep paralysis thing, that's just a cover-up. Because honestly, do you think the mainstream media is going to tell you what sleep paralysis really is? They're demonic attacks. They're not going to say that, because if they do, then people will know that demons are real. And if people know that demons are real, they're going to know that God is real, and that the devil is real, and angels are real, and that is proof of God. Of course they're not going to let that happen. And that's just my, opinion on it. You can have your own.